Hello. So using Reason as a plugin in another DAW is really easy and gives you access to the Reason devices and also to the effects within Reason. Here I have an Ableton 12 project, and I have a Kong, a monotone bass, and a mimic here. So I'm just going to click on the mimic here. And you can see I have the Reason Rack plugin here. If I click on this tool icon here, it opens up the Reason Rack and it can be resized. There's 16 channels of audio on the rack and it defaults to 1 and 2 for your main out. So basically it routes your audio from the device in the rack through your DAW, in this case Ableton, and you can hear it here. And if I play on my keyboard, you can also hear the device. So now that I have the rack plugin open, you can see I have the mimic device here, which is in my first channel here. I've clicked on in so that we can hear the sound, and if I play my keyboard, you can hear the mimic playing. I currently have the browser open. You can close it just by clicking on the browse button here, and you can click on devices here to look at the different devices. So we have players, utilities, effects, and instruments, just like in the normal version of Reason. Of course, when you add another instrument and you play the keys, it's going to play both of these instruments at the same time on that one track. So you could build up layers of sounds with different instruments, or just have one dedicated instrument per Ableton track here, like I have. So I have the mimic here on channel 1. If I close that, got the monotone bass here. Just open that up. And you can see that I have the monotone bass here on this House Classic patch here. I'll just select this here. I'm just going to click that on auto. So now you can hear the monotone bass synth on this track in Ableton. And lastly here, I have this Kong Deep House kit. And you can play the pads. If I close the browser here, and I'm just going to shift tab to go to the MIDI, you can see the notes that I've programmed in here. It's kick drum, some claps, some closed hi-hats, and some other claps here on this line. Down below here in the effects, I have a couple of Ableton's standard insert effects. We have the reverb here and the delay. Underneath them, I have added the Ripley delay from Reason, and that is the Reason Rack plugin effect. There's two versions. If we look over here in the plugins section in the Reason Studios, we have the Reason Rack plugin and the Reason Rack plugin effect. So the Rack plugin effect defaults to effects, and you can go through all of the devices and pick devices as well. So if I was to put this in here, obviously you're not going to be able to play it because there's no MIDI going through this insert effect here. So I'll just delete that. If I go back up to the mimic here, and I'll just increase the delay on that, and that is the third one here. So you can hear, let's just go full wet on that one. Normally for insert effects, you would want to go full wet on the effect and then just add in the amount that you want to have on the channel. In this case, the mimic. So you can hear the wobbler effect coming in the higher we turn this up here. So we have access to our favorite Reason instruments and also to our effects. Now, if I open up the mimic again here, basically it has the same buttons at the top here. We have settings, zoom, hide cables, flip rack. So we can flip to the back of the rack and use our gates, CVs, and our ins and outs to connect to other devices or to the audio host audio outs on the I/O device here. In utilities, we could pick a utility if we wanted to do a line mixer or a gain tool. Say we wanted a gain tool here, we can add that. I'm just going to tab to look at the device so you can see that it has gone in on a different channel here, 3 and 4. So I'm just going to disconnect the main inputs here, and I'm going to send the mimic into the gain tool and then take the gain tool out to our main outputs. Tab to flip the rack back. So now you can hear the gain tool is affecting our mimic sampler here. We can add effects to our rack here as well. And let's just add this alligator here. Just going to tab. So you can see the alligator ended up being inserted into the chain properly. For some reason the gain tool didn't. I'm not sure why, but we figured it out. So the gain tool is currently after the mimic and it's feeding the alligator, which is fine. We could just change the wiring if we want to and have the mimic feeding the alligator into gain tool, and then that way increasing the gain afterwards. That's probably what I would do, but for now it works. So I'll just play a C chord here and you can hear the alligator, and then we can just click here to open up the browser and we can pick our different alligator patches from the alligator folder. So let's just choose that one for now. And also in the effects here, I have the Ripley delay. I also have this osmium distortion on the fourth effect, insert effect here. We have A, B, C, and D. So this osmium here is just set on this, put me on baseline, and I actually have it on the monotone bass at the moment. So it's just adding some compression, wave folder and morphing on the lower frequencies, and then bit crushing on the mids, and then delay on the high frequencies. So it's really easy to set up your own devices in your own DAW using the Reason Rack plugin and the Effects plugin to give you insert effects. So I just have this quick beat that I made, nothing fancy. So that's a quick introduction to the Reason Rack plugin.